So this is the page 5 of the Metro, which is published by the Daily Mail Group or controlled by the Daily Mail Group. This is a kind of giveaway, but because of the lockdown and things, this physical circulation has been obviously restricted, and this is promoting the anti-European kind of line. And it's completely empty. This is nothing to do with what is actually happening. And on page 5, they've got two items. One is the picture of a woman, and the headline is that it's soul-destroying. Snap, that is photo that captures Italy's third wave of the virus. And this is the propaganda for the liar, Dominic Cummings. He's blaming everyone except Boris Johnson. And the Metro is so stupid to run this in that way. And this is based on the appearance before a so-called committee in Parliament yesterday. And there is a piece about sexual abuse of children by Jimmy Savile. Colin Nolan has revealed that Jimmy Savile tried to lure her up to his bed. Read that again, up to his hotel room when she was 14. Colleen, 56, met the pedophile when she appeared on Top of the Pops with her sisters as part of Irish group The Nolans. The Loose Women star said she was not surprised when Savile was exposed as a prolific sex offender following his death in 2011. Now the point is that actually gives her the game about the corruption inherent in Fleet Street and in the mainstream media. Many of them knew very well that he was abusing children and he was a sex offender, but they never published anything about him. Why didn't they do that? Now, there are few copies of the Morning Star. Let's see which ones we have not actually looked at during the last few days following the weekend, Saturday's vigil that was attacked by the police. And this is the one, and this is today's one, which is drivers to get minimum wage, holidays and pensions. That is about Uber drivers. And this is about a court case or series of court cases. We shall go into that later. And the last 3 days of the Morning Star, which you only picked up this morning, because of lockdown and the restrictions on travel that we have been maintaining. So that's the dark days of our freedoms. That is the police bill. And it gives too much credit to MPs with this subheading. MPs warn of historic attack on protest rights as Tories stand by bid to boost police powers. Now that is a completely misleading headline because it doesn't include the role of the Labour Party, in effect, really the role of the Labour Party as complicit with the attacks on the right to protest, but it's more than that. And the Tuesday's Morning Scar, this is the one we call Morning Scar because it actually distorts the truth, and as it distorts this one as well. And I shall explain how we find this a distortion. It says United Front fights police state threat. Urgent letters and huge rally push ministers to drop anti-protest bill. Well, of course they're pushing, but they haven't succeeded, have they? And that picture on the right at the bottom is Priti Patel, who is the stooge and far-right ideologue, daughter of a Gujarati origin, East African family that found refuge in Britain in the 1960s. And she is the one that is fronting now the attack on refugees and asylum seekers. And this is the one on the same event, the vigil, and this is the one dated Monday, the 15th of March 2000. Now, this is misleading because all of these headlines are misleading because backlash, completely stupid. It's not anywhere near a backlash. Okay? Nowhere near a backlash. It doesn't last. The backlash is a flash in the pan, as they say. So, and before we go into the sort of daily versions of Lead Street, here is the latest edition of Private Lie, which is number 1543. And it is officially the fortnight covering 19th of March, that is tomorrow, Friday, until 1st of April 2021. So that's the fortnight. And it's a tame, stupid headline, doesn't actually hurt anyone, doesn't actually expose anyone. No one to be sacked. What's the substance of that? And that is Jan Pisov capitulating to the crooks and criminals and liars and fascists and sub-fascists and neo-fascists in the Boris Johnson cabal-fronted regime. And it's completely pathetic. The jokes are absolutely pathetic in the Private Lie. And they are promoting Keir Starmer. It's completely pathetic. And it's tickling Keir Starmer, not exposing him at all, especially given the abduction and possible rape, sexual abuse, torture, and murder of Sarah Everard by the Metropolitan Policeman. And the police attack on the vigil organized in memory of Sarah Everard. And the absence of Sadiq Khan from the vigil, and Sadiq Khan's first reaction to the attack on the vigil and the mourners was a tweet. Absolutely lame tweet. And nothing has come out of Keir Starmer at the so-called Prime Minister's question time yesterday, Wednesday, which is the weekly charade. So Labour Party is politically dead, continues to be dead, while the country is in need of serious kind of action for democracy, for freedom, for safety and for an end to attacks on women and an end to the police inaction on complaints and reports of sexual abuse and attacks on women. Now extrapolate that, and the police inaction is many times higher than even that when reports are made about racist attacks. Yesterday, one of the shadow kind of Home Office ministers, Jess Phillips, was doing the rounds. I mean, however she traveled or however she got kind of connected with the various broadcasting outlets, including one she made on Robert Peston on ITV. And Peston, as the video, which anyone watching this can check, Peston is the Preston program, which is broadcast on Wednesdays. As Jess Phillips was saying that the overwhelming number of rapes are not acted on, rapists are not prosecuted, Peston didn't actually follow up really with any significant questions about the rapists being allowed to remain unprosecuted, unarrested. And he failed to actually comprehensively update or significantly update or substantially update on the events politically in terms of legislation, in terms of the role of the various excusers and apologists for the attackers on the vigil that was held in honor of Sarah Everard. So here is the private lie that has got we shall come to see how many items there. Now there is one piece about Brenda's mother, the so-called Queen Mother, who is being reported here as having made a racist remark to Roy Strong. And according to this private lie piece, Roy Strong left out the remark from his published diaries because it was too awful. And the Queen Mother referred to people as black Moors. And there's a double racism because it's the Moors and black Moors. But on the main so-called political page of the private lie, there is nothing about Sarah Everard. There is nothing about Sarah Everard. Although they have got this lame and stupid, corrupt and criminally kind of pretentious headline, no one to be sacked. The demand is actually not for people to be sacked only. There is much more that lot more needs to be done to stop the rape, abduction, rape, murder of women in Britain. And when it comes to abduction, possible rape, and definite murder by a policeman from the Metropolitan Police, there is no word that can express the depth of darkness that this represents. And there is nothing that Keir Starmer is doing about it. And where is Corbyn? What has Corbyn to say? Corbyn hasn't got anything to say, really. And one of Corbyn's main kind of supporters or fans, a young former MP, Laura Pidcock. I mean, she gets more than the necessary amount of space in the media, but she hasn't got any substance. So what's the point of Laura Pidcock politically? Not much. And the assorted kind of self-seekers in the name of the Labour Party, like the Owen, Owen Jones, they have not made any impact at all in the aftermath of the attack on Sarah Everard. Now there is a semi kind of joke piece on page 27 of Private Eye. It's not the kind of fact-checking news. It's a kind of joke version, so-called. And it says, Cressida Dick, the Metropolitan Police Commissioner, the first woman to be in that post,